We're going to hear next from Elaine Ezekiel, Director of Marketing at a2Tech360. In this role, Elaine has shared a2Tech with a national audience through Forbes Magazine, fostering ties between the company and local nonprofits, and continues to grow her team and the organization with her work. So let's welcome Elaine to the stage.
To work from home or to work from the office? That's the question of the moment. Open any tech or business publication and you'll be jerked around by the work from home narrative. They will. They won't. They're demanding employees return to the office. They miss the office. They're selling the office. They're selling their homes. They're moving to a co-working RV community in Wichita. This conversation is a distraction. It can't be settled in any satisfying way, and it doesn't even apply to all of us. I want to tell you a story about something that could actually improve the future of work, no matter who you are and no matter where you work. I met Dylan 10 years ago when he was a software developer here in town. He always struck me as someone who loved people, and he loved ideas too. I saw the way Dylan lit up anytime he got to share a new idea with another person. Over the years, I watched Dylan try to fit himself into different roles: freelancing, working at a small startup, medium-sized company, even a multinational corporation. None of it seemed to jibe with the special sauce Dylan brings to the table. Then one day I was telling Dylan about how at my company, we were looking for someone to head up a program for people just getting their start in software development. I figured some of his special energy might be better captured in an environment where he could influence the next generation of engineers. That was 3 years ago, and today, Dylan's blossomed into a different person. Sometimes I see him in our office, sometimes I see him on Zoom. Doesn't matter. Either way, he's a force of positive energy. Instead of trying to fit himself into another role, Dylan found a role that fit around him. But how did he do that? Dylan's new job draws on his strength of software development, his value of human connection, and his passion for sharing new ideas. But that process took Dylan a decade to complete. If you don't have that kind of time, there's a shortcut. It's called job crafting. Job crafting was developed right up the road at the University of Michigan by researchers Jane Dutton and Amy Rosneski. And for the rest of this talk, I'm going to share how you can use job crafting as a tool to craft work around the worker. Job crafting is useful for managers concerned about retention on their team and also employees looking for a better fit. I'd say everyone in this room could benefit from an exercise in job crafting. So let's try it. I want you to think of 3 tasks that make up part of your job: checking email, writing lines of code, taking out the recycling. Okay, that's the first step of job crafting. I wish we had time to go through the entire exercise together, but that would take more than an hour. Instead, I'll share the process at a high level and walk you through an example to illustrate. Let's imagine a soft-spoken salesperson named Dina. Dina likes her job well enough, but she dreads sales meetings. She hates feeling like she has to coerce people into buying what they don't need. To start off the job crafting process, you do what we just did, and you break your job down into component tasks. Each of these tasks gets written on a little card of its own. For Dina, that might include client research, travel, and those dreaded sales meetings. Next, you're prompted to think of 3 items unique to you as a human being: your strengths, what you're good at; your values, what you care about; and your passions, what fills your cup. Again, each of these gets written on a little card of its own. For Dina, she might list a strength of listening, a value of honesty, and a passion for helping other people. Okay, so now you've got a table filled with all these little cards. that list the aspects of your job and some aspects of who you are as a person. From here, the exercise asks you to step back and look for themes. What strengths intersect with a task? What tasks light you up with a passion? You start to assemble the cards in a way that makes sense to you in little clusters, and this represents what's called your job map. This is the fun part, because by seeing the aspects of your job alongside the aspects of who you are, you can start to challenge some of the ways everyone always told you your work needed to be done. Dina might consider her task of job crafting, of sales meetings, through her strength of listening and her passion for helping other people. Dina realizes she doesn't need to aggressively pitch people in order to be successful at her job. The next time she's in a sales meeting, she listens carefully to the client's concerns, takes notes, and follows up with a thorough and helpful email of all the ways her company can be of assistance to the clients. This is job meetings done Dina style. And it's one of 3 ways the job crafting exercise encourages you to remix your job. You can also rethink with whom you work on a task, or reframe the way you see your task entirely. In the end, job crafting gives you a new lens through which to see and a new language to talk about your work. And that comes in handy when you take your completed job map to your manager to spark a conversation about the short and long-term options you have to better shape your work around you. Look, I know COVID-19 has been so stressful in each of our work lives. If you're feeling anything like me, you're a little burnt out by now. But I don't want us to sleep through this moment when so much of what we assumed about work has been turned on its head. And yes, part of that has to do with where we work. But I don't think the work from home debate was ever actually about the location of where we do our job at its heart. I think it was a cry from an overwhelmed workforce grasping for agency in a chaotic world. We have so much important work before us, and as we've heard today, Ann Arbor's tech sector has a big role to play in getting us out of some of the messes we're in. A workforce entrusted to use their agency to craft work in a way that plays to their strengths, resonates with their values, and fills up their cups is going to be so much better able to step up to the plate and do that hard work. Job crafting is a great first step. As I leave, I'd like you to think back to those 3 tasks that make up part of your work. I want you to ask yourself, how could you craft those tasks in a way where you show up feeling more like yourself every day, so that your work jibes with your special sauce? If you want to try job crafting for yourself or your team, go to jobcrafting.com. And I sincerely hope you find your fit. Thank you.